Hey you guys, it's Lynnea. Welcome to the LDRS Creative May Features weekend. So this week we are doing, or this month rather, we are creating with some stencils and dies and florals to really give you guys some spring and summer inspiration. So I've chosen the Country Flower stamp set. This is one of my favorite stamps from the newest release, and I'm going to ink this up with some Raven Hybrid ink. This is going to stamp really crisp and clean, and it's going to allow me to do some Copic coloring. Now I am going to stamp this 3 times. I'm not going to color the entirety of all 3 images. I actually stamped it 4 just in case I messed up, and I can put that extra image in my stamp pocket and keep it for later. I have here the stitched square dies, and I'm just going to line this up onto each one of these floral arrangements and cut out a different piece of the cluster each time. So I have 3 stitched squares, and with that Country Flowers stamp, but it has a different part of that cluster. I'm going to do some quick Copic coloring. I use YG25 and YG17 for my greens, just because I like a bright spring green. Now for these little tiny flowers, I'm using V06 and V09, just going in first with some V09 and adding some darker areas, and then I'll blend that out with the V06. I'm not doing a whole lot of blending, or shading rather, just a little bit for depth and dimension, but really this is quick and easy coloring. One of my favorite yellow combinations is Y35 and Y38. It's a deeper honey yellow, so I think it's a really pretty yellow to mix with that deeper purple. I'm just gonna, again, simple shading, and on every one of these squares, I'm coloring the same type of flowers, the same color. I originally thought that maybe I would switch it up and have, those big yellow flowers be yellow one, pink another, purple another, but I decided it would be easier and it would look more cohesive if I did it all the same way. Once I'm done coloring those clusters, I have BG10, and I'm just going to outline the outer edge of the clusters to help them pop off of that page a little more. I have one of my favorite stencils, the waffle cone stencil. I sprayed the back with some pixie spray so that it would adhere onto my cardstock, and I used that Slimline scallop die set to cut out just this stitched Slimline background, I guess you could say, and I'm going to show you how I stretched this waffle cone stencil to cover the whole Slimline card. I'm blending on some Soft Kisses ink. I lined up the stencil on the left side of my Slimline panel, and now I'm just going to go ahead and blend. I am purposely keeping this darker in some areas, lighter in another. I think that really helps give it some depth and dimension. I was careful not to blend all the way over to the right edge of my stencil. If I did, that would give me some harsh lines. So I kept the blending soft over towards the right, and that way now I can shift my stencil over and go ahead and go in and fill in the rest of that Slimline background. And I will slightly overlap where my inking was over towards the left, but again, I'm not going to go all the way over to the left of my stencil. I don't want to have any harsh edges. I want this to be one continuous stenciled background. Check out how perfect that is. I think it's so fun. And then my idea is just to add these stitched squares with that Country Flowers stamp right down the center. So I've arranged them where I want them to go on my Slimline card, and I've just used a little bit of tape to tape them down so that I can know exactly where they are and I can line up my stamp. The Country Flower stamp set has a buildable sentiment. It'll say just a little note, and then you can say whatever you want. I had to brighten your day, but there's one that says happy birthday to make you smile. So really you can stamp whatever kind of sentiment you want, which is so awesome about this stamp set. I'm going to pop those little squares up with some foam, and I'll use my T-square ruler to make sure that they are straight and centered and even, and that completes my card. I hope that this inspires you. This kind of looks like a little country window scene to me, I think, but it's super easy to do. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you soon. Bye.